I'm down to my last mini corn dog, Dion here. My lunch is over, so now we can do this. We can record Snap Tackle Pod here in week 4. I know you've been waiting on that.
Yes, the lunch edition. A lot of times it's morning, but now it's the lunch edition as Mick is gone. Are those vegan mini corn dogs?
Oh, no way. No way. No way. Come on. What are we doing?
I have a friend who
I'm from Caldwell. What are we doing?
I have a friend who has a freshman in high school and known him a long time, and she's a swimmer. And I asked her how her fall was going, if she's doing club stuff. And he's like, well, she decided she was a vegetarian, and I don't think she's getting enough protein. The times are not really dropping.
Doesn't seem like a sport to be in, to be a vegetarian.
You need a lot of protein. You need a lot of protein.
Got to burn through some calories.
Mhm.
That's funny. That's fine. No, there's no. I'm a picky eater to begin with, so
So do you eat like a 13-year-old? Is that basically the deal there?
maybe a 6 or 7-year-old. Absolutely. I'm pretending to look at the menu, knowing I'm getting chicken fingers every single time. I know in the back of my head.
So you can give a unpaid for recommendation. What are the best chicken fingers in town?
Oh, it's a great question. The best chicken fingers in town. I used to love the ones at Chili's. They used to have what are those? They're crispy dough, something like that. Those are really good. Those are really good. I'm not a huge Cane's guy. Everybody's big on Cane's. Not a huge Cane's guy.
I'm lying around the building every time I drive by.
That doesn't help. So. Yeah. The weight doesn't help.
It's too busy. Nobody goes there. A little Yogi Berra there.
How about this? I'm going to go off the radar here. You ever been to Mother Cluckers?
I have not.
So Mother Cluckers is amazing. You can order, I think it's 2 things, chicken strips or chicken sandwich. And you order it yourself. And they have these big old shakes because you can get certain different types of heat. And you can order 1, 2, or 3 chicken fingers. You're like, that's not enough. Oh, it's enough, buddy. Like 1 is the equivalent of 2 or 3. Okay. And so I think there's 5 levels of sauce heat-wise. Daddy's gone up to the 4th level, and I thought I was going to die. It reverberated for a long time. It's not tears, sweat, all coming out of my face. My daughter got video of it. So I don't think I'm ever going to get to that 5th level, but it's so good because then you have the big old shake, which you need the milk and everything to put the fire out. So that's going to be my answer. Mother Cluckers is one.
Mother Cluckers.
I
know that when I was in college, I would judge restaurants, especially Italian restaurants, on their fettuccine Alfredo. That was my
favorite Italian dish.
Yes.
Outside of pizza. Fettuccine Alfredo.
Yeah, could eat it every day. Now,
I will say, Olive Garden, they got the bottomless pasta bowl, Dion.
Yes.
For $13.99, and you get as many fettuccine Alfredo as you want.
I will say this, that I did really like the fettuccine Alfredo at the Heidelberg in Columbia. As I see.
Good to hear. Good to hear.
Flash a little tiger today. So
right, let's they're like the only local team that wins here. So it's good to see. All right, let's get to it here. Let's talk some high school football in around Kansas City. Who's the fettuccine Alfredo so far of Kansas City football? On my list here, I've got a question. Is Blue Springs football back? Both schools in the town. Is it back? I was talking to my son last night on the phone. He's like, he plays with a couple Blue Springs and Blue Springs South guys. He's like, yeah, they had good wins. I'm like, you don't know this. Back in the day, not that far back in the day, that was the center of football in Kansas City. Could it be that again, Dion?
You throw Rockhurst in there. You have Rockhurst at 3-0 as well.
Rockhurst, this is
big 3.
Like we're in 2010 all over again.
Yeah,
right?
10 through 15 when they were essentially represented every single state champ. Well, actually, from 2004, 5.
I told them, like, they used to almost leapfrog each other, piggyback.
For a solid decade,
South back to Rock, and
for a solid decade, one of them was, or 12 years, one of them was in the state championship game, and they didn't always win it, but one of those 3 teams was in the state championship game. There was only one year where Rock, I think maybe it was 2005 or 2004, Rock got beat. 2005, Rock got beat in the semis by DeSmet, but then 2 years later hung. They must have done something because Tony Severino was never, I'm going to hang 55 or 60 on you. Yeah. He may not have liked the way that DeSmet knocked them out because he hammered them 2 years later when they were on their way back to the state championship game.
Yep. But both Jaguars and Wildcats are undefeated, and we talked about a couple weeks ago. South's the offensive team, Blue Springs the defensive team. Is that still the
I
same?
would say, yeah, but I'd say both of them are pretty balanced. I mean, I think that they're both playing well and they're pretty balanced. And that game isn't for a while. They've got, both of them have a Lee Summit North team that is also undefeated out there.
Yeah.
That's going to be in their way in the next 2 weeks upcoming. So like it's going to be an interesting run to say the least. But yeah, I think you could say that it's back to a certain extent. I mean, people in this town I think are pretty spoiled. Those who remember those days that back means in the state championship game or at least in the semifinals and stuff like that. So
Yeah.
like they're Blue Springs and Blue Springs South in the same district, so only one of them's getting out, and then they would match up probably with the Nixa district. So it's not an easy road for either one of them. But no, it's definitely a good football back in Blue Springs.
Speaking of Lee Summit North, let's get to the crossover games here. Man, Mill Valley had them on the ropes. Lee Summit North didn't score an offensive touchdown, hadn't scored one with like eight
Yeah,
minutes left in the game. In fact, their offense didn't see the field. Lee Summit North's offense did not see the field. Mill Valley's defense didn't see the field until 8 minutes left in the first half. They went a quarter and
yeah.
a half due to a kickoff return, due to a fumble return, due to Mill Valley kind of marching down the field, three straight drives with long drives. It was a wild game. Mill Valley was up 21-13 with, like I said, 8 minutes
Six.
left, and then
Yeah.
North scored three straight touchdowns. It was crazy.
Well, and I think both teams would like to look at some of the mistakes they made and clean those up. But it made for a very entertaining football game, and it looked like an early season football game between two pretty good teams. They were able to kind of do what they wanted to do at times. It took a while for Lisa North to do that with their offense, but when they did, they got going late in
Yeah.
that game and really moved the ball. Whereas Mill Valley, the first two and a half, almost 3 quarters, looked like they weren't going to be stopped. They just lined
Yeah.
up and ran right down the field.
And two running
So
backs going well. Yeah, I mean,
yeah,
a ton of yardage.
so yeah, it was definitely one interesting to watch. The one thing I will say, and at least on the North's got a ton of talent, they have got to clean up the penalties. I mean, they
14 to
had
15,
two.
I think that game. Yeah.
They had two twice. They had too many men on the field.
Yeah.
They had three offsides in the first drive of the game.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a variety of penalties. It's not just one thing. It's a little bit of everything. And if they're going to go deep, they're going to have to clean up those penalties.
Elsewhere, Rockhurst and Olathe North combined that they'd won 180 state titles, I think, between the two. Rock gets the victory in this one, and what seems like a Rockhurst team that could be up this year, and Olathe North team maybe down a little bit, not what they usually are.
Yeah, Lathan North's numbers are down a little bit, but I think what you see there is a Rockers team that's really got things going, and an Lathan North team that's probably going to be a lot better coming the end of the season than they are right now. That being said, Rockers is really young right now. They're playing a lot of sophomores. They
Lost
started with
off one of the
seven.
juniors, yeah.
Yeah, they started with seven senior starters, and I think they're down to like three now
Hmm.
because of injury. So I mean, and I think some of those guys can come back, but there's a lot of young guys getting time at Rockhurst, and so this is a team that really, as the season goes on, is going to be one to keep an eye on because they've done a good job of replacing those seniors that they have with younger players, and that team is just going to get better.
Yeah, and they're in class 5 as well. We'll see.
Yes.
Let's see what those two things, those ingredients, what that makes at year's end. Elsewhere, what do we have? Gardner over Pius. I wasn't able to follow that game. You said Gardner had a big lead. Pius
Gardner had a big lead, and Pius came back and had a chance. I think they had the ball in their hands late to go and try and tie or take the lead. So that shows right there that Pius team's getting better. And Gardner had, they've been in two shootouts the first 2 weeks of the season. They go for two and lose by 1 point to Lawrence Free State, and then they go have a big lead and they have to kind of hold off. That St. Pius team that's starting to find its footing. Even though they're 1-2, their two losses are to Gardner and Rockers. So they've got Cardinal Ritter this week. I think they've got a really good shot of getting Cardinal Ritter. I think they're more on even footing than they've been the last few years. Cardinal Ritter's maybe not quite as loaded with D1 talent like it has been, but I think Pius is playing well. I think they come out of that game feeling pretty good. And if you're Gardner, I think they would like something that they don't have to sweat through.
Yeah.
They get Shawnee Mission South this week, who's much improved, who was leading Lathan North, and then they got a win last week. So it doesn't get any easier for Gardner in that sense, but they're probably looking for a laugher if they can get one. I don't know if that's going to be this week.
Yeah. Yeah. I'd like to give a shout out to some Shawnee Mission teams. How about that? You had Shawnee Mission West, Shawnee Mission
Yes.
South, Shawnee Mission East, all getting wins on the same weekend. West beats Lincoln Prep. Shawnee Mission South takes it to Pittsburgh for a second straight year.
Yeah.
And Shawnee Mission East with a real good win over Topeka Seaman.
Yeah, those are all really good wins. And this week, Sean Machiniste has got Mill Valley. Mark Semino is the Chiefs coach of the week. And that's a team. A lot of people you talk to, Shawnee Mission East is one they're keeping an eye on because they were much improved last year, and they think they're going to take that big step forward. Shawnee Mission South is much improved. When I talked to Coach Chris McCartney last week when they played them in week one, he goes, "We had to battle and come back." He goes, "We made some mistakes." He goes, "But they capitalized on those mistakes,"
Yeah.
and that's kind of the step in the evolution. Nick Foster, their coach, that they've been steadily improving. And if you're a team that can now start playing even up with teams that have been better than you, and then you start taking advantage of those mistakes, that's when you start to see that progress. And they got a good win last week, and it's gonna be a good one this week with them and Gardner.
No, I think so as well. Um, Tell me about AJ Smith from Warrensburg and how he ran for like, I don't know, a quarter of a mile.
Yeah,
The other night.
360 yards,
Yeah.
six touchdowns, all six touchdowns they scored against Moberly, 31 carries. So he averaged 10 a carry.
Yeah.
It wasn't like it was, 45 carries for 300 yards or 50 carries for 300 yards. So
Yeah.
he's definitely a weapon for them. Last year they had Kobe Westfall, the
Yeah.
outstanding quarterback. This year they have AJ Smith, who's their tailback at Warrensburg. It's one of our Remax Big Three games. They're going to Harrisonville team that's 3-0. Warrensburg's 2-1. They lost to Smith Cotton that first week of the season. And Smith Cotton had been down. An old friend from Kearney, Josh Gray, is the coach down there at Smith Cotton. They're a little better than they've been in a while. So that was a tough loss for Warrensburg in week one, but it's looking better and better each week. But no, Warrensburg is a talented team. I'm gonna have Coach Chris Kavanaugh on my radio show this week, so getting ready to gonna interview him tomorrow as we record this on Tuesday. So yeah, that's a big night. But like I said, sometimes you see those big totals, you go, oh well, they just they ran the kid in the ground. Well, you average more than 10 yards a carry.
Yeah.
That's pretty good.
Yeah. No,
You have
definitely.
your double digits per carry. That's a good spot.
Tell me why Ottawa and the Cyclones were your team of the week on the website, Preps KC.
Because they are a team that they've got a lot of talent.
They had a good year last year.
They had a good year last year. I think that they've got a chance to break through in a Frontier League that seems wide open this season. I think Tonganoxie's pretty good. Lewisburg maybe is not as good. Pale is better. So there's a little more balance there. They're an explosive team. They've got some good athletes, and Walt Alexander, the former Topeka coach, has been there for a while now. I think this is his fourth or fifth season, so he's really got his setup in there. Ottawa has had some talent in the past. I mean, they produced some D1 basketball players, and
Did Shimi Ojale ever play football there?
yeah,
I don't
no, I
remember.
don't think he played football, but definitely played basketball. But no, so they've got some players there, and it's good to see that team. That helps that league. I mean, that league's always pretty good, but when the Ottawas and even Baldwin, who doesn't really play that football schedule in there anymore because they're 3A and they have to go right into districts a couple weeks into the season,
Mhm.
they're even a little better too.
All right, let's get to this week, your Remax Big Three games of the week. So on the Kansas side, Olathe West and Shawnee Mission Northwest. Couple points here. We were talking off the air. You said Blue Valley Northwest had a nice win over Shawnee Mission Northwest last week. That was a
Yeah.
good game. That was a Thursday night game. You believe in Shawnee Mission Northwest this year, and Olathe West 2-0. That's a good win
Yeah.
over Blue Valley West last week.
No, I think both these teams are teams to keep an eye on in 6A because if they're not good enough to go really deep, you're gonna have to beat them to go deep. I mean, these are teams that will get better as the season goes on. And new coaching Kurt Webster, who's on staff with Bo Black, so there's really a lot of continuity there. And and both these teams are want to be physical. They want to run the ball, and it's I think it'll be one of the more fun games. I'm looking forward to catching the web stream of that on Friday night. Just kind of stick my head in there and see how that game goes. But I think that's a good test for both teams early on.
Yeah, maybe expect some points from both those teams.
Yeah, they both can score, and it's not chucking it around. A lot of it's on the ground, and they hit big plays in the running game.
All right, what about Spring Hill and Eudora? Why does that matchup catch your eye?
Spring Hill, Fred Bouchard there, Eudora. They were a little young last year, didn't have a great season last year, but I think they're a little bit better this year. I just think it's always good to dip down into that Frontier League. Eudora Drew Steffen, he does a great job. They're always really, really well prepared, and Spring Hill's off to a 2-0 start, and we'll see how they kind of go from there. But no, I think it's just a good early season game for a 5A, so they won't see each other down the line. So it's a good test for both teams.
Yeah. I mean, Spring Hill was 8-2 last year. I was looking them up.
Yeah, no,
I lost to
Spring Hill's a good
Ottawa and
team.
Mill Valley, so yeah, they're
Yeah.
good. And now they got Fred Bouchard, so things could be rolling down there. St. James, Blue Valley Northwest, the weekly EKL where you can find like four matchups that are great.
Yeah.
This is yours, huh?
Well, St. James,
I think St.
this
James is
shows you
really good.
St. James is really good, and this shows you how good Aquinas is because they took a 21-14 lead on Aquinas on that defense that we talk about as
Yeah.
being really good, and then Aquinas said, "Okay, that's fine," and then just ran past them and won
Mhm.
41-21. So it says a lot about why Aquinas is ranked number one in 5A. But no, they were in that game for had the lead midway through the second half, and then they got run away. And then Blue Valley Northwest is coming off of two good wins and looking as good as anybody. LJ Bowens, their tailback, is one of the better running backs in the city. They're getting good quarterback play and two well coached teams, two teams that are recently won, in the last 5 years won state championships.
Mhm.
So there's a good pedigree there for both those schools. And like you said, it's like throw a dart in the EKL each week and you're going to get a
Sure.
good game.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, over to the Missouri side, Pembroke Hill and St. Michael's, right? I wrote SM here. That's St. Michael's they're playing. Yeah.
Yeah, it's definitely a game that is interesting for both. Neither one of them are off to the start that they want. I mean, Pembroke Hill's 2-1. Look at that loss to Holden a few weeks ago, which actually doesn't look like a bad loss. Holden's a pretty good team. St. Michael's 1-2, but they've played a pretty tough schedule. They beat Summit Christian in week one, faced a Mountain Grove team that's ranked in Class 3, pretty good team, and then
And
oh by
Hayden.
the way, Topeka Hayden.
Yeah.
So and they've got Pembroke Hill this week, Pius next week, Van Horn. Then they go University Academy, Hogan Prep, and then they close out with Father Tolton, who's ranked. So, I don't know I think if you're St. Michael, this is a good opportunity for you. And these are two pretty evenly matched teams in Pembroke Hill and St. Michael. Maybe your record isn't necessarily what you're looking for come week 10 or week 11. It's one, are you healthy? Did you get through the stretch of tough games healthy?
Mhm.
And two, are you really ready to go? Because you'll get in the districts and sometimes you'll get easier games than you had on your schedule a lot of times,
Yeah.
depending on where you are in the district. So I think it's a good game for both teams. I think it's, if you want to win the Crossroads, this is one you got to get right here.
I like Pembroke Hill. I went out and talked to Sam Kanopic for a preview this year, and he's got three seniors, by the way. That's
Yes.
it. Not for football, three. So I'm like, let's talk to all three. And so before I think he's a history teacher. I mean, I don't think it's science, but he told them all like a word to say in their interview, in their answers. And they all did it. It was hilarious. And it was so obvious. One guy was like, out of nowhere, was like, I just really think iron sharpens iron. And something else, something about calcium and bones. I'm like, okay, I hear it now. And it was funny. So I appreciate that from Sam. That livened up our high school football previews. So well done. Well done, Pembroke there. All right, jumping up a couple of classes in Missouri. Staley, an improved Staley team taking on a Blue Springs team we've already talked about a little bit.
Well, this is I mean, if you're Staley, you've gotten a little better this year. You're 2-1. Your losses to Lee Summit North, and now you've got Blue Springs this week. So this is the life in the suburban gold. If you've been on the bottom of that conference, you can show signs of improvement, but sometimes you run into the middle and the top, and it's a tough game. But I think it's an interesting one because Staley likes to run the ball. They're not going to throw the ball much. I think they threw it 3 times. Their first win of the season. They don't really have that going on right now. They're basically a running team against the defensive line in Blue Springs that is one of the best in the city, and a defense that's one of the best in the city. So
Mm.
I like what Blue Springs is doing. Their offense is coming around. Wyatt Erickson, their quarterback, is very good. They run the ball pretty well. They've got a running back who's not the biggest kid, but he's got good quicks, and they're doing a lot of good things at Blue Springs. They're really solid special teams. It's a team that they feel pretty good about what they're confident, and they should be because they've
Mhm.
worked to get to this point. Staley, I think, will continue to get better as this is the second year for second or third year,
Second for
second
Drew.
for Drew Hodja,
Yep.
and of course Greg Oder's on his staff as well, former Blue Springs South coach. No, I think they will continue to get better as they get their program in place. But they're kind of where Blue Springs was maybe 2 years ago, as Coach Jed Paulson was trying to turn his get his culture
Yeah.
and the way things he wanted to do things. And I'll say this about people when they come in. I hear coaches say this all the time, and I sometimes it sounds like they're talking down about the coach that was there before. And they're like, we're trying to change the culture. Well, I the more I hear that, and I get to know a lot of these coaches, they aren't necessarily saying the culture was. Sometimes the culture is bad. That's
Yeah.
that happens.
Sometimes they just want their own, right? Their own system.
Sometimes it's like it's they did it that way. I want to do it this way. This is the
Yeah.
culture I want, and how we do things. Sometimes it's different levels of accountability, that kind of stuff. It's just some coaches are more player led. Some coaches are more
Yeah.
get the leadership from the assistant coaches. But I think that's what you see what Drew Hudgens is doing at Staley. He followed Steve Rampy, good coach there. They want to put their own stamp on things, just much like Jed Paulson and his staff has done at Blue Springs. And like I said, it's like you could see them. Maybe you could see what Staley wants to be where Blue Springs is now,
Yeah.
where Blue Springs was about where they were at a couple of years ago. So yeah, Blue Springs has really definitely been impressive this year. I can't. I mean, the way they're playing is definitely impressive. But Staley's got 2 wins. I mean, that's winning a game. Winning games was a big improvement for them.
Yeah.
Closing out some games was a big improvement for them.
All right. Lastly, here, I like this another off the radar game in a week where there's not a whole lot of marquee matchups. So it's a great
Yeah.
time to do it. Warrensburg, and we talked about, and Harrisonville.
Yep.
Some
Harrisonville's 3-0.
RBC action here.
They like to give everybody a lead, whether it's 6 or 10 or 12 points or something along
Who
that line.
does?
Harrisonville.
Okay.
They've trailed in all 3 games.
Okay.
Trailed to Richmond in week 1, trailed to Bolivar, came back and won that one at the end of week 2. Center was only up 6-0, but Center was up 6-0, but they won that game going away 48-12. So, but they are getting better. That's a team that doesn't have the numbers they're used to, and they graduated a lot of seniors. But talking with Coach Maxwell before the season, he liked the group. He said, "You know what?" He goes, "We don't have a lot of guys, but they're all pulling in the same direction, so you're not really having to worry about." Sometimes there's a group of guys that aren't working as hard as you. He goes, "They were all working hard and doing things." So, are they talented enough to go deep? I don't know, but they're doing well in the MRVC. They're getting in MRVC West play. Warrensburg's a great test for them. And we talked about Warrensburg, dropped to week 1, but they've won 2 games in a row, and now they're 2-1. So these two teams know each other pretty well. Warrensburg's been in the league for a while now, and they're both one school towns, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Both about the same size town. Harrisonville does not have a college. That's the only difference there. But no, it's they're both similar in what they're like. So I like MRVC West football, and I think anytime you got Odessa Grove this week as well. Those two, how those two towns are alike, and
Rivalry. Don't sleep on the rivalry out there. Okay.
yeah. So the MRVC West has
Eastern
got a lot
Jack
of
and
good rivalry.
Lafayette counties. Let's go.
Yes, no doubt. So no, good week, and definitely we're this week we'll be doing our second elite team watch list. I think we're going to do running backs and
Let's get to that. I mean,
receivers.
Richie running backs. I mean, and we probably should hit on Aquinas more. They look great, and so does
Yes.
Cal Lawrence, right?
Yeah, we got our stat leaders up, but they'll be up if you're depending on when you're watching this. They're already updated with week 2, or they aren't updated yet because it's going to be about 10 o'clock on Tuesday nights when we get it done. But no, Cal Arndt had another big week last week. Jackson Pollard from Lansing, if you stay on that side. Bryce Randall from Olathe Northwest, and Trey Woodward from Shawnee Mission Northwest. So those are all the kind of the big guys on. Then Dalvin Coleman from Staley, the quarterback from Savannah, who's now I think I don't think he started quarterback last week, but he had some big ones. Of course, AJ Smith had the 360. He will jump up into the list this week.
Absolutely. Yeah, a lot of these guys. I'm checking this out for the first time here. Yeah. It's always neat to see, the guys and because a lot of times we'll mention teams and coaches and maybe quarterbacks, but it's hard to get our arms wrapped around all the guys. This is a great place to go to get familiarize yourselves. Granted, they're all skilled guys, but still you can get a good grasp of who are some of these big names out there that are toting the rock, catching the rock, throwing the rock, all that stuff.
Yep.
Just click on the big blue tab.
Yep.
I've been impressed by Arndt so far, and so
he was big in that second half. He had a couple big runs in that second half against St. James. He's he's not the tallest guy in the world, but he is physical,
Yeah.
and
Bowling ball.
he can stand up to the load. He proved that last year that I'm not
100%.
saying everybody can get nicked up. That's not, I mean, it happens to everybody, but
Mhm.
he's a physical kid,
Yeah.
and he's got speed. So, sometimes he can run past, he can just run past you, then take that hit. So, and he's got good moves too. He was on the elite team last year as a running back, along with Reggie Reese from Mill Valley,
Mhm.
and Jackson Hicks from Liberty. So no,
Jackson Hicks got a carry in the
yeah.
Northwest game on Saturday. They are banged up with like 3 or 4 injuries in the running back room, so we got to suit up, got a carry. So it was good to see.
I heard that your tailgate was well attended.
It was, yeah. I
Cole,
need to step up the tailgate game because I didn't realize how good it was at Northwest. It's they take it seriously there. So I've already,
Cole brought his family out, and you got to meet
yeah, I talked to
the
Cole,
Youngs.
saw his son, and so that was good. Yeah, it was good. I'm just
Yeah,
scouring
because
here. Any other voting on your site? Everybody's voting on the like the South, or like the East game as
that's
your.
leading right now. Yeah, still plenty of time because that doesn't close out till 5 o'clock Thursday, so there could be a late push. You never know on that. Go out there, click on that link, and vote for your game. Hey, Sheet Metal Workers Local Number 2, they upped it. It used to be $250 per team per week. It's 750. I mean,
Oh, nice.
250 is good. 750, you're talking a team meal. I mean, that's
Yeah,
that kind of thing. I mean, I don't say the 250 is not real money, but 750, you get close to 1,000.
yeah.
You're starting. They're great supporters of high school football. Of course, they sponsor the stat page as well. So, really, really happy with what they do. And now, so another good week.
Yep.
Should be fun on
If things
Friday
went
night as
well on
well.
Under the Lights, I actually haven't gone back and watched that yet.
Hey, we pulled it off.
Pulled it off. Good.
We didn't have a Chiefs game that bumped us.
Good.
Didn't have technical problems on both sides the first week, which was
Here.
really fun. That was, my side was
Funny,
screwing up, and
I
then
hear about it when it goes wrong. I don't hear about it when it goes good.
yeah, my side, my computer was playing all kinds of games with me on Friday night. Suddenly at like 9:30, it was trying to use my phone as a camera for just out of the blue. I wasn't even doing anything. I was just sitting here working, and then it wouldn't switch over, and I had to restart my computer. Then it didn't want to. Finally, I
Yeah.
got it to go again, and then I called in, and I could hear them and hear myself echoing in the line, but they couldn't hear me. So yeah, it was all kinds of stuff on week one, and the fun, and Nick and I tested. We didn't. It wasn't like anything. We didn't just go in blindly.
Audio, video, man, it
Yeah.
can be a bear. Know how it goes. Awesome. Well, check us out on Under the Lights on KSHB 41 at 10:15-ish on
Yes.
Friday after you get back from your games. And check out Preps KC all weekend long. It's fun. I was at that Lee Summit North Mill Valley game, and old habits die hard. Halftime, everybody just gets on their phone, and starts scrolling. Oh, did you see what's that? Did you see this game? And it's a great time. Friday nights can't beat them. Anything else, Dion?
That's it. I'm glad that game day wasn't in Columbia this week because I would have lost my scoreboard guy who was helps me with my scoreboard.
It's good. Yeah.
So
For the Battle of Columbia.
it's my cousin's kid, and he's a proud Mizzou grad, and he's like
I think
I'm going to game day, and he goes, if game day's there, I'm going down Friday night.
I think South Carolina messed that one up by losing.
Yes, they did. I was kind of openly rooting for them to lose, so that I would have
You want
staff
your
on
opponents
Friday.
vulnerable. I get that.
Yeah, I don't know if I don't know if their quarterback's going to play this week. I mean, he's in the concussion protocol,
Yeah.
so.
Yeah.
I'll take the W's at this point anyway. I want to get to 10 or 11. That's all. That's all it seems to
We'll
matter.
see if Missouri ever has to leave their Columbia. If they ever have to leave home. It's six straight.
Yeah, they do start 6 straight to start out.
You get that schedule.
Hey, I'll take it.
All right, Dion. Appreciate the time. Thanks to you for watching or listening. I'm Mick Shaffer of KSHB. We'll see you next time on Snap Tackle Pod.